All right, here we go. 3 o'clock, football. We will take a break from the Tigers unless TJ wants to offer an opinion on them. I've got a lot to ask. A, it's great of you to show up this week.
Thank
B, can I ask about the Jets? Is it selfish if I ask about the Jets?
No.
Because
made some headlines this week.
And you've been on the Leadership Eagle Council in a locker room. You've been part of a veteran commission. Just explain to me. And I also, look, clearly you know Aaron Rodgers. How am I supposed to believe he didn't get Robert Saleh clipped?
I don't know if he got him clipped, but there's absolutely no way Woody Johnson did that without getting his input.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, look, Aaron said what he had to say this week, that, surprise, and we talked about my injury, but come on.
I don't have the power you think I have.
You're not going to make that move without, and I don't know if he signed off on it, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, but there's absolutely no way that he found out Tuesday with the rest of everybody else.
But I have to think that if he walked in there and says, I'm thinking about getting rid of Saleh. Nah, I like him. Sure? Yeah. All right, he can stay as coach.
Exactly.
So if you don't do that, in essence, you got him clipped. Because you didn't walk in there and say, no, I want to keep my coach.
He probably didn't do much to help the cause. But
you know what's fascinating? But then in turn, they clipped Nathaniel Hackett. Now, they offered Hackett a soft landing. I know that. Factually.
I must have missed that. Did Hackett get fired?
No.
They took the
They were going to let him resign with some dignity.
That.
Instead, they stripped him of his play calling and said, here's a Rubik's Cube. Go sit in the corner.
Okay,
now, that's Aaron Rodgers' guy. That's his dude. So it doesn't add up where Aaron gets his way and then they clip his boy. I had to ask you because you have no smarm. You've been a part of that leadership kind of vault in a locker room. And it's crazy. And again, it's the Jets. This is what they do. But it's insane. How does the rest of the room react?
Sounds like the guys on the defensive side weren't happy.
Yeah.
Because honestly, their defense hasn't been the problem.
No.
Their defense has been.
Aaron threw a pick 6 last week. That's why they lost.
3 interceptions. He was terrible. Maybe it was a situation that Woody Johnson's like, hey, God, we're terrible right now. We're underperforming. We got to make a move. We got to jumpstart this team. It's either Hackett or it's Saleh. We got to do something, right? And like you said, Aaron Rodgers vouched for Nathaniel Hackett, right? He called him his favorite coach ever. He wants him. So, and I'm not saying I'm not saying that he gave him a choice. Hey, it's one or the other. But if he had to stand on his head for one of those guys, I would assume it was Nathaniel Hackett.
Right? It's crazy.
Yeah, and it was. Look, was Saleh good? No, they weren't bad, but underachieving for the roster that they had, absolutely. So, but I've never been a part of a in-season firing. I was here in Detroit when Caldwell got let go, but that was at the end of the season. I don't think any of us knew that was coming. That nobody, Bob Quinn or nobody asked, the veterans on the team, hey, how would you feel about this? You just kind of came in and you saw the news.
You mean they didn't come to you and go, TJ,
not me.
Do you bless this firing?
Absolutely not.
Do you think?
But a guy like Aaron Rodgers, that, with the amount of power he has and say that he has, there's absolutely no way in hell.
Breaking news
that he found out on Tuesday.
Breaking news. TJ says.
What?
You fired Caldwell.
Oh, okay. That's enough. That's enough.
That's actual live audio of TJ talking to management.
You also, what looked weird last week watching that Jets game too? That looked like an Aaron Rodgers, it looked like an I'm going to show you how much we need Devontae game. You know what I mean? That's what I thought watching that
22 targets to Garrett Wilson.
And he's just chucking it into coverage, and he's just throwing the ball in half a second. He's not buying time anymore. He's just dropping back and chucking it. And I think that was kind of like maybe Saleh didn't want to bring in Devontae. Maybe he felt, that, and this might be conspiracy path here, but maybe that kind of looked like a game that was like, oh, you don't want Devontae? Okay, watch this.
Now we're getting the good stuff.
I'm going to show you how much we need him. I don't think it was, but that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like to me.
No, TJ, you know what it looks like to me? It looks like the Jets are trying to get in early on either Vrabel or Belichick, knowing both are out there. I don't think this is going to be the first in-season firing of a coach because you got 2 coaches out there that, let's face it, in New York, especially if you can get Belichick to go to the Jets.
Yeah.
that would sell. That the fan base would eat it up. Oh, he's with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that'd be juicy too. Going to a division rival of the Patriots, where he spent all those years. That would be. I think it sometimes guys, ownership or GMs feel. You can kind of feel the energy deflating out of your football building. The roster and the locker room, and sometimes they have to make moves that will try to wake guys up a little bit, and try to give you a jolt of come back to the real world, man. Like we got to start turning it around here. There's going to be a lot more slips, in our lockers when we start showing up if this thing doesn't start turning around.
Where do you sit with the Lions? Off a bye week, obviously getting Frank back helps. It's a weird spot. I don't quite understand. Lions are only a 3-point favorite over what looks like half the Cowboys roster. What's your confidence level going down to Big D this week?
I feel good.
Pretty good,
right? I do. Coming off a bye week and getting healthy and everybody practicing. I think Kirby was the only guy that got a little nicked up, which sounded like he was going to practice at least today. We'll check the report here in a little bit, but no, I feel good, man. I think this offense finally figured it out. It took them a few weeks, but that Seattle game, they were rolling, and they were playing good. And the defense, did you slip a little bit? Yeah, you let up a few too many big plays, but I think they're playing really good team football in all three phases. And you combine that too, like you mentioned. Micah Parsons probably not going to play. Lawrence on IR.
Zach Martin did not practice yesterday. I don't have the update today.
I didn't see it. It sounded like it could have been maybe a vet rest day.
Little Calvin Johnson type
I could
deal.
be wrong, but it kind of sounded like, and Zach's been around for 13, 14, maybe a vet rest day, but they're banged up at their positions that they're difference makers. I mean, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, that's your defense, right? Eric Hendricks didn't practice, I don't think, at all this week, Wednesday or Thursday.
Definitely
He's their leading
Thursday.
tackler.
Yep.
So I combine that with the fact that I think the Lions are hitting their early season stride here, and I feel confident. I really do.
You know what, TJ? I couldn't wait to ask you this question because you played offensive line. A torn pec. It just seems like you shouldn't be effective as an offensive lineman with a torn pec. Am I just looking at this like you guys are just Supermen out there, or is there something wrong that you can go out there and just get this thing done? You got a torn pec.
Yeah.
And it's no big deal.
I don't think it's a fully torn pec. I only say, and I don't know, but I only say that because anytime somebody tears a pec, it's a season ender. I mean, you don't see at least 8, 10, 12 weeks, right?
Yes,
I think
3 months. Yeah.
Gardner Johnson did it last week. He ended up coming back late in the playoffs, but partially torn, you start thinking, and look, I mean, torn is torn, right? But there are different severities of that injury. Yes, does it affect you? Absolutely. But
I mean, he's pulling a Ronnie Lott. Just cut it out. Let's play.
I mean, a guy like Frank, I mean, the last time he played a fully 100% healthy game was when? You know what I mean? Like, he's been banged up the last couple of years with the toe and the foot, and now the.
Did you hear what Goff said on his airwaves?
It's difficult.
Goff said he came into the huddle and he goes, "Guys, I think I just tore my pec." And Goff's like, "You basically get the hell out of here." He's like, "No, I'm good. Just keep rolling."
You sure?
Like, casually just comes back to the huddle and goes, "I think I just blew out my
Something
pec."
doesn't feel right. Yeah. And it doesn't. That's one of the injuries too, like an ACL, that it's not really painful. You know what I mean? Like, you just feel discomfort and you're like, can I stretch this out, right? Something doesn't feel right. It feels a little weird, but it's not painful. So as long as you can, a guy like Frank that can go out there and still be effective without, battling an excruciating amount of pain, he's tough as nails, man. He's an Iron Man. It's going to be hard to keep him off the field.
We have 3 critical questions for you, and only one of them is about the Tigers. We're going to get to it next. Then we have 2 TJ questions.
Tigers. I'm excited, man.
And we're going to talk
Game 5.
All right, we're going to talk about.
Are
you going?
No,
I'm kidding.
I'll be on my way to Dallas.
Huge sports in
I
Dallas.
was there Wednesday, though. I was there Wednesday.
All right, everybody calm down. Rico, tell them about it, and then we're going to get to TJ.